Welcome back, Aluxers. We're sure you're going to find today's video pretty interesting and hopefully inspirational too, as we're looking at a very specific group of society that a lot of us can learn a few valuable lessons from. In previous videos, we've covered the rich, the poor, the middle class, and even the fake rich. The group we're looking at today is usually seen as the top-earning portion of the middle class, but we can also look at them as a group between the middle class and the truly rich. Hey Luxers, today we're talking about the upper middle class. They're successful in their careers and they manage to stand out from the crowd, even if they're not as drop-dead glamorous as the super rich. And while it's difficult to make huge generalizations, they do tend to have high levels of feeling fulfilled with their lives. In the USA, the upper middle class is seen as those with combined family incomes between $100,000 and $500,000 a year, or personal incomes of over $60,000, although this figure does vary from country to country. They're often defined as the wealthiest 20% of the population, excluding the super rich right at the top. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. So, Aluxers, are you ready to see if you make the cut and qualify as upper middle class? And if you don't, it's not all lost. By taking a look at what makes the upper middle class tick could inspire you, and by picking up some of their habits, you could find ways to enhance your life. And if you really work on it, maybe one day you'll even join the ranks of this category. With that said, let's get started. Number 1. You have another source of income other than your main source, but you'd struggle to live off it. If you're familiar with how the truly rich get to where they are and stay there, you'll know one of the biggest aces up their sleeve is they have multiple sources of income. If one dries up, it won't affect their lifestyle that much. Most people work for money, but the rich make their money work for them. So what if you're in the upper middle class? Well, you're somewhere in between. As a rule, you still rely on your main source of income, your job, but you'll probably have money invested and bringing you more income. It may be a property that you're renting out, or maybe shares, but unlike the seriously rich, who have enough investment to weather any financial storm, you would be affected by the loss of your job. But having that safety net will be a huge help if you ever fall on hard times. Number 2. You're probably highly educated from a good university, probably. Traditionally, the upper middle class has been associated with high levels of education. There's a good chance you're a lawyer, doctor, dentist, architect, engineer, or an executive for a corporation. These jobs require formal education and lots of it, at least a university degree and possibly postgraduate studies too. The truly rich often don't need these qualifications because of their innate business instincts, which goes hand in hand with their tendency to take more risks. In comparison, you're more likely to take a low-risk path, one that's already been set out for you. All you have to do is follow it, work hard at school, go to a good university, and get a highly respected and high-paying job. Sounds easy, right? Well, the fact that only about 1 in 5 people end up in this group tells us it isn't, because we're talking about some of the toughest degrees to get. One which takes focus, determination, and a lot of hard work. Just think about the 7 years it takes to become a doctor, as opposed to just 3 or 4 years for a normal university degree. Or how tough the exams are to qualify to be a lawyer. To make it there, you're going to need some hard-earned qualifications, where not everyone's going to make the grade, but it will be worth it. While a lot of formal qualifications are becoming obsolete, for most of the jobs we're talking about here, society will always need them. However, there's another group of people in the upper middle class, one which doesn't require a formal education. That's comprised of owners of successful businesses, not ones that have made it onto the Forbes Top 100. Usually businesses that are fairly small, but doing well enough to put their owners into the bracket of wealth. If this is you, then to get to where you didn't necessarily need qualifications. But like your counterparts who are lawyers, medics, and engineers, you did need equal measures of drive and commitment to make your business a success. Number 3. You like your job and take pride in it, and you aren't motivated by money alone. A huge number of people out there spend most of their time waiting for the weekend to come, and if this is you, there's something wrong that you need to address. But if you're in the upper middle class, you probably don't have this problem. Why is that? Well, whether you're a highly qualified professional or a successful business owner, it took a lot of drive to get up there. That means you're probably motivated by it, even passionate about it, and you enjoy it. An architect will be passionate about buildings, from the design side to the math side as well. And the owner of a local business will be passionate about the business they've built up. Even school principals fall into this category too. There are plenty of teachers who are disillusioned with their jobs, but you don't get to become a school principal without a passion for education. Number 4. You're mobile. You've moved around more than others, possibly to another country. A lot of people grow up in one place, find a job there, get married, and settle down all in the same location. That's because it's the easiest option, the opposite of the rich, who are well known for going away outside of their comfort zone. As a member of the upper middle class, you aren't known for the huge gambles that the rich make, but you don't exactly take the easiest path either. You embrace challenges, and one challenge that you're bound to benefit from is changing location. This could include moving far away to study at the best university you can get into. And when you're asked to do a transfer for work, possibly to a different country, you jump at the opportunity because you know what it will bring to you professionally and also what you'll learn about the world outside of your bubble when you move. And having more knowledge of the world will increase your horizons, which is connected to the next item on our list. Number 5. You have a high amount of cultural capital. This is a term you may not be used to hearing, but it's a concept everyone's aware of at some level. Cultural capital means your broader knowledge of the world, knowledge that you can apply to your work, your social interactions, and your free time pursuits. This knowledge makes you stand out from the crowd and socially more mobile. It could include what you know about the arts or literature and how you talk or dress in a way that makes you come across as sophisticated without being pretentious or fake rich. It could also include your well-honed communication skills because they help you get your point across and make everybody want to listen because you're a genuinely interesting person. And it's that upper middle class more than any other group that has boundless cultural capital. It comes partly from your formal education and was also passed down by your family. The rich know better than any other group how to make money, but when it comes to knowledge about the wider world out there, they tend to pale in comparison to you. It'll help you in your work, especially if you work in a field that involves creativity, and it will help you when you're networking, as equally sophisticated people will want to add you into their list of contacts. And beyond all of these advantages, it just enriches your life. Number 6. You're more interested in quality than brand names. People who aren't that rich are often obsessed with branded goods, and they sometimes spend too much money on them when something else will do the job just as well. You're not as interested in getting a one-up on the Joneses or even keeping up with them. That's because you don't feel the need to prove yourself. So when you're buying something, you're more interested in how useful it is to you. It's said that we spend so much of our lives buying things we don't need to impress people we don't like with money we don't have. A lot of people fall for this trap. But as a member of the upper middle class, chances are you don't. You probably do have some branded items, and why not? You can afford them, but you also have a lot of non-branded ones. The important thing is you don't obsess about the labels on the things you own. Number 7. You don't buy things on credit. This relates to our last point. A lot of people out there want to have things they can't afford. It makes them feel more secure and gives them the illusion they belong to a social group they aspire to but in reality can't quite reach. So if they can't afford them, how do they pay for it? The answer is on credit, and they go into debt, making a payoff between the illusion of wealth and months or years of installments to pay it off in the future. If you're in the upper middle class, this probably isn't true for you. First of all, you don't feel the need to buy so many unnecessary things, and when you do want something expensive, you can afford it. You're smart enough to know that buying on credit isn't a good idea, and instead you'll put it to something that will consolidate your wealth, like property or shares. However, you will want to make one or two notable exceptions, like getting loans for the mortgage for your home. Unlike the truly rich, who rarely need credit, even for their mansions. Number 8. You go on holidays to expensive locations, but you do shop around a bit for deals. It's true nowadays, more than any other time in history, people have a wider number of holiday destinations to choose from that are within their budget. But there are a few desirable spots that are out of reach for most people's pockets. The Bahamas, Maldives, and Seychelles come to mind, and while a lot of people can afford to visit another continent once in a while, it's strictly once in a while. Dream destinations like Bali, Thailand, or Mexico are probably a rare, even once-in-a-lifetime treat. For the upper middle class, these dream locations are a lot more accessible and may even feature on your list of regular getaways rather than one-off dream holidays. And when you get there, being the culture vulture that you are, you're likely to interact with the locals and you'll try local food and learn all about it, all the while increasing your cultural capital even further. So how are you different from the truly rich? Well, the truly rich can choose not only any destination they want, but any hotel or any restaurant they feel like when they get there. When you go somewhere more exclusive, you'll still probably shop around for offers, something the rich don't have to worry about. Number 9. You have a network of influential friends and acquaintances. You may have heard us say it before, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And as a member of the upper middle class, you mix with quality people, people who are equally educated, sophisticated, and have a prominent position in society. These are people you mix with naturally. You meet them through work, at social events, and maybe on the golf course. You gravitate toward each other, and as a result, you're well connected. You've heard the expression, it's not what you know, it's who you know? Well, the upper middle class knows a lot of things and have a lot of connections too. And the people you know, lawyers, executives of companies, local business owners, are the kind of people who can make things happen when you need them to. Number 10. You have a good understanding of how money works. We've already mentioned that you don't buy things on credit. That's because you know what your income and expenditure are and you know how to balance them. You plan financially for the future. Of course, that includes a private pension because you know in a few years governments won't be able to cover state pensions in a meaningful way. When it comes to money, you apply the same level of intelligence and the same aversion to risk that you've shown to get to where you are in your career today. Number 11. You have a financial advisor, although you probably call them more than they call you. We've already said you've got investments, and to help you with them, you've got a financial advisor to do all the complicated stuff for you. You're good with money, but you're not necessarily an expert in the field. But what you do know is when you need an expert's help, especially with something as important as your money. Most people in the middle class don't have a financial advisor because they don't have enough investments to warrant having one. But like the truly rich, you do have one. The only difference is that the truly rich are at the top of every financial advisor's list of people to call. You're not their top priority, so you'll call them more often than they call you. But you know they'll still come through for you and make good on your investments. Number 12. You have a healthy lifestyle. You make smart choices. These choices have gotten you to where you are today, and you make the same kind of smart choices about food, exercises, and anything that affects your health. You're less likely to smoke or binge on junk food. You probably have a membership to a gym or other sports club, and of course, private health care. You know that to perform your best, you need to be healthy, so naturally, you prioritize your health. Number 13. You were privately educated, and if you've moved up into this group, your children probably will be. Of course, the top 20% of earners want their children to stay in that bracket, so you'll want to give them whatever opportunities they can do to have this, and paying for a private school is one of the best ways to do it. We've mentioned that most of the upper middle class need to be highly educated to do their job, and that's reflected in the fact that you value education and you'll spend a significant portion of your money on it. Number 14. Your children can afford to do an unpaid internship. There's no getting around the fact that your money gives your children opportunities that not everyone's children can have. And these days, it's common for some sectors to recruit people through unpaid internships. This is especially common in the media and the arts. After finishing university, graduates spend a few months doing unpaid work, and once they've demonstrated their abilities, they move into a paid contract, often for desirable jobs in the sector. It's a tough fact, but people who can't afford to spend a few months working unpaid are going to be excluded from these opportunities. But as you're in the upper middle class, you've got enough resources to support your children through this. Number 15. You're comfortable with who you are and where you are. Finally, we've spent this video analyzing what makes the upper middle class who they are, but you don't actually give it that much thought. That's because you're content where you are and you don't have anxiety about it. You don't overanalyze it, and you don't need to give yourself a label to increase your perceived worth. Being content with where you are doesn't mean you don't have plans for more and bigger achievements in the future, and sure, earning even more money. But it does mean you don't need to pretend to be something you're not, or obsess about where you are on the social ladder. You have a sense of well-being with who you are. Now, Aluxers, before we wrap up this long video, we're curious. Which of these qualities and habits of the upper middle class do you think you could adopt and could change your life for the better? We realize that some of them are easier to do than others, especially if you don't have a large amount of money. But we think some of these are definitely achievable for anybody. Be sure to post your answer in the comments and we'll be right there with you. And of course, for sticking with us until the end of the video, here's that bonus we owe you. If you're in the upper middle class, that means you're more likely than anyone else to shape social movements. Historically, the upper middle class has been the group that's been at the helm behind most social movements. That includes the peace movement, the anti-nuclear movement, and the environmental movement. And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. If you're upper middle class, you've got the drive and the commitment to make things happen, and you're connected to like-minded people who can help your cause. You put your wide knowledge of how the world works to good use, as well as your excellent communication skills. And true, there are examples of billionaire philanthropists driving change. We've covered quite a few of them on the channel. But usually the rich are more interested in their own business ventures. The idealism behind most movements to make the world a better place is more characteristic of the upper middle class. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also hand-picked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question on our website, Alux.com. Thank you for being an Aluxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.